The hostility continued on television after Blueface accused Adin Ross' event of being manipulated. A recent leak of an off-camera altercation between the two celebrities has the potential to completely alter the course of events. This video shows a significant disagreement and a tremendous beef that nobody anticipated. We're going to show you everything in this narrative today. What actually transpired between Blueface and Adin Ross, and why is it causing such a stir on the internet? You must comprehend what Brand Risk 13 was and why Blueface was on the card in the first place in order to comprehend the video between Blueface and Adin Ross. Streamer Adin Ross organized Brand Risk Promotions 13, which took place on March 14, 2026, at a Miami, Florida, warehouse. Rappers, controversial individuals, and online celebrities participated in exhibition boxing contests at the event. Free live streaming is available on sites like Kick. Ross has organized one of these events 13 times. Brandris 13 became one of the most talked about streamer boxing cards of 2026 when the free Kick stream attracted a large number of concurrent viewers. The primary event was planned to be different from what actually happened. The main event was supposed to pit Ruga against Blueface. However, the commission canceled the bout due to Ruga's terrible sparring, and Chibu was substituted. Thus, the matchup that fans had anticipated did not materialize from the outset. A replacement had to be found after the commission intervened and rejected the roundabout. Chibu, a Kick streamer who had been a member of the Brand Risk ecosystem, took that place. When Chibu was arrested on live broadcast at Florida Atlantic University last year, he became well known online for an unexpected reason. The streamer has since switched to boxing as part of Adin Ross' celebrity boxing ecosystem after allegations of a disturbance. Despite not having the professional boxing experience of Blueface, Chibu has the benefit of being a heavyweight due to his size and weight. This streamer, who is big but has little ring experience, is the new opponent. This battle was meant to be a warm-up for Blueface. Before his major May headlining bout, Blueface was warming up this month after being out of the ring for over 3 years. The rapper gained notoriety earlier this year when it was announced that he would face former NBA champion Nick "Swaggy" P. Young on May 2nd in Miami. That's the background. This was hardly a fight that would define Blueface's career. He was using it as a practice run for a larger event for which tickets were already being sold. He required a victory. He had to appear fantastic while shaking off the ring rust. It was not meant for him to lose. However, the drama had already begun outside the stadium before we even got to what transpired in the ring. WAC 100, Blueface manager, complained about security at Adin Ross' Brand Risk boxing event, excluding him while allowing streamer N3 to participate. The main attraction of Adin Ross' Brand Risk event was Blueface's recent boxing battle versus streamer Chibu. But it appears that WAC 100, Blue's manager, had some difficulty entering the event, and he didn't like that streamer N3 was supposedly going to enter first. A video of the confrontation was posted on Instagram by DJ Academics. In it, WAC is fighting with security personnel outside the venue because they don't seem to have let him in yet. The executive objected when one of the guards stated that N3 would be brought in first. The night was tense from the beginning since WAC remarked, "N3 on isn't more important than me," respectfully. The main event fighter's manager was unable to pass through the venue's security. The main attraction was his own client. That establishes a tone that foreshadows the course of the evening. This is important, so let's discuss Blueface's character as a boxer. American rapper and professional boxer Jonathan Michael Porter, better known by his stage name Blueface, was born on January 20th, 1997. He didn't just show up and start throwing fists to get what he wanted. Experienced boxer Blueface has defeated Ed Matthews and Kane Trujillo in his last 2 bouts, the former via knockout. He even sparred with Floyd Mayweather in the ring, which went viral on social media after the legendary boxer made fun of his ex-girlfriend in the middle of a workout. Adin Ross's appropriately named Brand Risk showcase featured Blueface comeback to the ring following a 3-year hiatus. The rapper was regarded as one of the world's top influencing boxers after holding his own against fighters like Floyd Mayweather and Kesha Davis. That is the degree of anticipation prior to this battle. Floyd Mayweather and Blueface had engaged in combat. He had collaborated with Keshin Davis. He has a history of knockouts. He was a clear favorite heading into Brand Risk 13 against a streamer who was making his boxing debut. There was one element that no one could overlook, even though all the signs pointed to a Blueface victory. Blueface gained a significant amount of weight while incarcerated, and after his release last year, he appears to be a completely different person. Although he was once a slender middleweight, he has always been tall. This is crucial. The rapper had not battled since defeating Ed Matthews via knockout in 2023 at a weight of barely 157 pounds, according to a Bloody Elbow story dated March 15th. He returned as a heavyweight after doing time in prison on a probation violation related to a 2021 battery case. Consider that. He weighed 157 pounds at the time of his last fight. He was a middleweight. He returned as a heavyweight now. It's a jump across several weight classes. Weight classes in boxing exist for a purpose. Yet, even outside of the professional sphere, it might be difficult to advance through so many divisions. After serving 21 months of a 4-year sentence for an assault on a security guard in 2021, he was released from prison in 2024. His body transformed while he was incarcerated. His conditioning shifted. The fighter who knocked out Ed Matthews in London was unique in every way. The bell then rings. Blueface displayed good technique at the beginning of the battle despite the size difference. He outperformed the less seasoned Chiu in the first round by controlling distance and landing crisper strikes because of his reach and basic boxing skills. The first round appeared to be the duel that everyone had anticipated. Blueface was in motion. He was jabbing. He was the superior fighter. Chiu was being moved around a little by Blueface, and both men appeared more physically fit than they had in previous encounters. Chibo simply moved much more slowly than Blueface. However, round 2 took place. In the second round, the fight's tone shifted. Blueface was pushed back toward the ropes by Chibo, who then started punching him hard in the torso. The fans were startled when Blueface split through the ropes and out of the ring during the exchange due to the strain. Instead of calling the incident a knockdown, the referee declared it to be a continuation of action. Go back and read that. Body shots sent Blueface through the ropes and out of the ring. The harm was done even though the referee did not call it a knockdown, a decision that would later become part of the controversy. There was a change in momentum. That was a string of blows to the eye. This was not merely a warm-up. It was far more of a fight than Blueface had anticipated. The combat looked different after that. Blueface found it difficult to regain momentum as the bout went on, but Chibu continued to apply pressure. By the last round, the underdog was making increasingly powerful strikes, such as a corner flurry that almost caused the referee to end the fight. The second half of that round was the focus of the referee's intense scrutiny, and it was not for Chibu. He would have won by knockout if he had a little more left in his tank. What a show the underdog put on. Chibu won all 3 scorecards against a remarkably resilient Blueface, who took everything that came his way, despite later displaying symptoms of exhaustion. Rapper Blueface and Chibu faced off in the main event, which Chibu won by unanimous decision after 6 rounds. Decision made unanimously. Chibu received it from all 3 judges. Blueface, the crowd, and the internet all responded, but not in the manner that anyone had anticipated. It's important to note that Blueface wasn't the only person furious that evening before we get to the altercation. Gypsy Crusader and Supera Hotfire's co-main event similarly ended in controversy. 2,928 on 2 cards. Super Hotfire was not pleased at all. The commentators were all going crazy, and Adin Ross was appalled. Following the fight, fan surveys revealed that 60 to 70 of respondents thought Supera Hotfire had won. Highlight videos of the massive right hand and the throw went viral, and social media erupted with old threads analyzing each round. Following the event, Adam and Ross went live and called the judges suspect. Thus, the entire card's judging was under scrutiny. Even the promoter didn't seem too happy with the outcome of the co-main event. It was becoming one of those nights when no one trusted the scorecards for Brand Risk 13. And that takes us to the event that garnered national attention. Adin Ross went up to Blueface in the ring after the bout to have a post-fight interview. For Brand Risk incidents, This is customary. The fighters are interviewed by the promoter, but what transpired next was unusual. A video of Ross and Blueface in the ring following the announcement of the decision was posted on X on March 15th by user Fearbuck. First, Ross inquired as to whether fans may anticipate seeing Blueface participate in the campaign once more. Ross persisted, inquiring as to whether Blueface would want a rematch or a different opponent if he came back. The rapper, however, made it apparent that he was unlikely to compete under the Brand Risk banner once more, claiming that the fights were not handled fairly and were interfering with betting business. This is what Blueface said to Adin Ross's face. "Adin, you know damn well you ain't going to lose your own money on your own fight card," he remarked, adding, "I definitely wasn't unanimous decision. I give it 4-2. But hey, shout out to Brand Risk. I probably won't get back on Brand Risk because you're tampering with the bets." In front of hundreds of thousands of viewers, Blueface made a direct accusation on camera that the promoter is manipulating the betting and the results of fights on his own card. He did not sugarcoat it or dance around it. Adin Ross immediately denied the accusation with repeated denials, saying he had no idea what Blueface was referring to and insisting such manipulation had never occurred. Adin Ross was clearly upset when Blueface announced he wouldn't be returning to Brand Risk after his defeat, accusing them of tampering with betting. However, Blueface didn't stop there. After leaving the venue, he went further on his own. Live stream. That is the footage. That is the clip that No Jumper shared. That is what went viral. "I'll definitely never fight on Brand Risk again, just based on Adin's business skills," he declared. We now have two distinct moments: the in-ring altercation in which he accused Ross of manipulating bets and a live stream following the event in which he doubled down and declared he would never fight on Brand Risk again, this time taking aim at Ross's business practices. It appears that the California rapper was not pleased with the defeat, as No Jumper on Instagram captured him complaining about the event both to Adin Ross' face following the match and during a live stream shortly after. Let's take a look at this from both perspectives. Blueface felt taken advantage of, and his manager, Whack 100, concurred, saying, "I had Blueface 4-2. In general, the West Coast administration believes that the judges erred in this case, and that either a split decision or a blue win would have been the outcome. It was his first heavyweight fight ever. Adin Ross, on the other hand, vehemently denied everything, saying repeatedly that he had nothing to do with the judging or the betting. Ross started by firmly stating that Chibu was the winner, brushing off any criticism or disagreement about the outcome and telling Chibu, "You're the champ." ___ what they are discussing. "You're this Brand Risk shit's champion." The impact from Brand Risk 13 went beyond Blueface and Adin Ross. A number of individuals commented on the battle and the dispute. In reaction to Blueface charges, Ross went straight to validate the winner and stood by his event. Clarissa Shields, an undefeated boxer, tweeted, "Egypt lost her fight," implying that performers should train for longer periods of time before their bouts. "Blueface is lost. I believe that these popular personalities should train for at least 6 months before engaging in actual battles." That's Clarissa Shields, one of the greatest female boxers in history and the unquestioned champion. She didn't think Blueface was cheated. In response to a fan who claimed Blue was robbed, Shields said, "Well, I watched the fight and I thought Big Boy won too." Her opinion was that celebrities should train more before fighting, which is a telling viewpoint. She did not support the robbery allegations, suggesting that preparation was the issue rather than corruption. However, even Shields acknowledged that the fight was close in certain aspects. But it was a crazy fight. She told Chiba Big Boy over the phone that she believed he had won. So, after watching this battle, one of the world's most accomplished fighters agreed with the judges. Now, let's also discuss the betting issue, as it was the main focus of Blueface's charge, which was that Ross had tampered with the bets. What does that actually mean? By stating, "You know damn well you aren't going to lose your own money on your own fight card," Blueface appeared to be implying that Ross, as the promoter and a streamer on Kick, which offers gambling integrations, had a financial stake in specific results. In response to Blueface's allegations that Adin Ross rigged fights, Ross repeatedly denied it in the ring, but Brand Risk Promotions as an organization has not issued a formal statement. Blueface was implying that Ross stood to profit financially from a Blueface defeat. The outcome of the fight also had an immediate impact on Blueface's boxing career. Blueface had already committed to fight NBA player Nick "Swaggy" P. Young on May 2, 2026, at the James L. Knight Center in Miami. Tickets are already available and promotional materials are circulating, but it is unclear whether this lucrative matchup will go forward due to the brand risk of showcasing a star NBA champion against a defeated comeback artist. Blueface was supposed to use Brand Risk 13 as a springboard into a bigger event, but instead he left with a loss, a public accusation against the promoter, and uncertainty about his next fight. WAC 100's client, Blueface, lost by unanimous decision in his boxing match against Chiu, which he and many other fans felt was a robbery. However, many others disagree. This is the real cost, not just the loss on record, not just the viral clip of him being sent through the ropes. The final point is crucial, but many others don't agree. Fans and boxing observers don't all share this attitude. Some witnessed the fight and believed Chiu deserved it, while others believed Blueface was robbed. This disagreement is part of what makes this so contentious. DJ Academics also got involved after the fight, calling Blueface's manager to discuss what transpired. WAC 100 had a somewhat viral moment when security led streamer N3 into the event before him. As a result, there are now several media outlets covering the fallout, with No Jumper sharing the post-fight video and DJ Academics calling WAC 100. In addition to the controversial judging in the main event of the most appropriately named Brand Risk Promotions event he has run to date last night in his Miami warehouse, 2 judges gave Miller the victory score of 2,928. Even Adam Ross disagreed with the judging in the co-main event, believing Super Hotfire should have defeated Gypsy Crusader. Hollywood Unlocked had the highlights on Instagram, and the story was all over the place within hours of the event's conclusion. The promoter is calling the judging suspect in one fight while simultaneously denying that there is anything wrong with the judging in the main event. When the promoter himself calls the judging suspect in one fight on his own card, it becomes more difficult to respond when a fighter claims the judging was compromised in another fight on the same card. What does this mean for everyone? Let's go person by person. Adam Ross went live after the event, calling the judging suspect and hinting at possible rematch talks. Blueface's first concern is what will happen to the Nick Young fight. He was anticipating his fight with NBA champion Nick "Swaggy" P. Young, which is scheduled for May 2nd at the James L. Knight Center. Blueface was on Brand Risk 13 because he needed a warm-up fight. The loss does not automatically cancel the Nick Young fight. Tickets are on sale. Promotion has been done. Industry observers wonder if the rapper will look for tune-up fights to rebuild credibility or try to move forward with the young bout regardless. Either path presents challenges for Blueface's boxing career trajectory moving forward. However, the storyline surrounding the fight completely shifts. Prior to Brand Risk 13, it was Blueface, the seasoned boxer, taking on the NBA star. Following Brand Risk 13, it is Blueface, who recently lost to a streamer making his debut, taking on the NBA star. For Adin Ross, this is complicated. Brand Risk has grown to be one of the most popular streaming boxing events worldwide. Gypsy Crusader made the decision to retire after being given the opportunity to compete in front of a crowd of well over 500,000 live viewers. This gives you an idea of the viewership numbers Ross is generating. 500,000 concurrent viewers for a free stream is a business. That is real money. It is not good for that business to have a main event fighter accuse you of manipulating the fights on your own platform. Whether Ross likes it or not, the accusation is now part of the Brand Risk story because the video has been shared by No Jumper and covered by Sportsca, Bloody Elbow, Hot New Hip Hop, Baller Alert, and Yahoo Sports. Ross denied the accusations both in the ring and after the event. This is not the case for Chiu, who went from being a replacement opponent to a headline story after securing a unanimous decision victory on all 3 scorecards, the biggest victory of his career. In response to Ross's post-fight questions, The boxer acknowledged that the tough 6-round match had exposed areas he needed to improve, particularly his conditioning and weight. And he suggested that he had plans to lose some weight and move toward competing at cruiserweight. He wants to keep fighting, and his victory over Blueface has given him credibility in the brand risk system that he did not have before. In terms of brand risk promotions overall, the event attracted enormous numbers, sparked a lot of discussion on social media, generated controversy in several fights, and attracted a large number of concurrent viewers for the free kick stream, solidifying Brand Risk 13 as one of the most talked about streamer boxing cards of 2026. The accusations made by Blueface cast a shadow over the event. If fighters begin to believe that the promoter has a financial stake in certain outcomes, it affects who will agree to fight on future cards. It affects the legitimacy of the results. It affects whether fans trust what they are watching, and this is not the first time Ross has had fighters upset with him. When asked if he liked the streamer during his latest visit on Adin Ross' livestream, Gypsy Crusader grew quite irate and said, "I don't like you. I've never been fond of you. I despise you. I'm unable to put up with you. You seem like an AO to me." Before the battle even took place, that was Gypsy Crusader. A number of fighters on this card had complaints about the promoter, which is a pattern. Whether or not the complaints are legitimate is a different matter, but the main question is whether the fight was rigged or if the bets were tampered with. Gypsy Crusader accused Ross of hoping he would be beaten after hurling insults at him live on stream. There is no proof of such. Adin Ross refuted Blueface's accusation, and the judges scored the bout. Some fans agree with the score, while others disagree. That is how boxing operates on all levels. Close fights lead to disagreements, and unanimous decisions in close fights lead to even more disagreements. Based on what Blueface has stated, at least, it is evident that the relationship between Blueface and Brand Risk is over. He told Ross in the ring that he would not be returning. He declared to his live stream audience that he would never fight on Brand Risk again, citing Ross' business practices as the reason that door seems to be closed. It is also evident that Brand Risk 13 created the kind of controversy that keeps people talking, clicking, and watching. Whether that was the plan or not, that is the outcome. Blueface entered the ring expecting a tune-up and left with a loss, a public accusation against the promoter, and uncertainty about his future in boxing. The footage of Blueface and Adin Ross is intense because it is authentic. There was no script for the exchange. Blueface expressed his feelings at the time. Ross responded at the same time, and now it is up to the internet to decide who they believe. The Brand Risk 13 card featured 11 fights that evening, and it was intended to be a showcase for Ross' expanding boxing empire. Rather, it turned into a case study of what occurs when fighters don't trust the system they are competing in. Whether or not Blueface charges are true, the fact that he made them in front of the camera in the ring immediately following the ruling is the kind of moment that sticks with you. Adin Ross will keep taking on Brand Risk. One fighter's claims won't stop the events since they are too profitable and attract too many spectators. However, fighters will keep Blueface's words in mind the next time they apply for a Brand Risk card. They will recall the video and decide for themselves whether or not to believe the procedure. That's the tale. At Brand Risk 13, that is what took place. That is the tense video of Adin Ross and Blueface. And this night's consequences will last for a